Hey YouTube, this is Rishika and this would be my 28th video tutorial on DataStage and part 4 of transformer. Okay, so I'm making like in different parts, the different functions in different parts. Uh, so on that basis this would be my fourth part in transformer stage. I discussed about in the previous parts, I discussed about the properties, ds macros, stage variables, and now as I said, I mean link variables too. So in this video I'm gonna focus on null handling in transformer stage. Okay, so yeah, before that, before getting into null handling, let me just load my data. So let me just show you Oracle. Okay, let me have a parameters now. I think, okay, yeah, it's there. So yeah, I just want to load all my data, all my input, all my data, and then have null values, then discuss about the null handling things on those columns. Okay, so I'm gonna have employees. Okay, and columns I'm using employees table pretty often because that's the one which has like more number of rows, so we can have like and different types of data type. So that's the reason I'm just like putting a greater chance on how we define our data. That's it. Okay, so let me just have all the columns onto my output. Okay, and let me just move this a little bit. Okay, so null handling, if you remember, I mentioned it in modify stage, right? Null handling it basically that's the type of operations we use to handle nulls in derivations or like constraints. So, okay, so whenever we are trying to write expressions for the nullable or not null columns, I mean when we are trying to handle null values at any level, so we choose that null handling functions. Okay, so yeah, if you're choosing any input column in an output column, in an output data field, and trying to write expression on that, and say if that input column has null value in that, so what happens is ultimately whatever expression you write on that null value, it gonna be end up as null in the output. Okay, that's like that's a predefined, I mean that's already defined thing in 8.5, from 8.5. Okay, the job doesn't abort and all that. Okay, so it pretty much like whenever you have like null values in a record, null values, whenever it encounters a null value record, whatever expression is performed on that record, regardless of that, output gonna be null. Okay, but I mean you can use, you can so you might be thinking what is this with null handling functions, what's the use of null handling functions, right? So yeah, that's another thing. They have like a pretty different number of null handling functions. So if you want to handle null values explicitly, yeah, you can choose this null handling functions. Okay, so now let me just choose any column. Okay, I'm not sure which are the nullable columns, because when we are trying to handle, I want to choose nullable columns to show what I'm trying to do. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is let me just check. Okay, phone number for now, that's nullable column, so I'm gonna edit this derivation. Okay, and function. Okay, you get null handling in function, and then click on this null handling. Okay, so when you click on this null handling, you have 6 different null functions, null handling functions, right? So let me just have each of this on each different column, and then I'll tell what exactly does each of that do. Okay, so first I'm gonna set null. Okay, set null. Okay, let me just explain it right now. Set null, so what I'm trying to do is phone number, I'm trying, because the phone number column is already nullable here, you see here nullable, yes, right? So what I'm trying to do is, because it's already nullable, I'm just making all the values in the phone number as null. I'm just making, I mean basically I'm making all the values in that column to null. That's it. So it's gonna represent, we don't have any phone numbers now, all the values in that phone column are will be null. That's it. So it's gonna have like null, 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 and all the records. Okay, So that's with set null. And let me choose another one. Let me choose now salary. Okay, so salary. So let me just remove this. I don't think I don't okay let me just I don't think we do have any we don't have any null values for salary, but we do have null values for commission percent. So let's make it now this. So if you remember, in modify stage I choose the same commission percent, right? So it's we are doing the same thing, but it's a little simplified way than modified, because we need not now type all the things. Okay, so what did we do in modify stage? If you remember, or if you guys followed my modified stage video, we basically handled null and converted those null values to some value. I remember minus 0.85, right? So yeah, we're gonna do the same thing. I just want to show you how it's different than the modify stage. Okay, so if you wanna just set some value to the null. Let's say you have some nulls, and you want to assign a value to that null values in a column. Okay, so that's when you choose this null to value thing. See, whenever you choose null to value, remember in modify stage you need to type your own input column and value and all that. But now it's pretty predefined for you. It's if you don't know even data stage, it's pretty predefined, right? It's saying input column, so you're gonna choose some input column. It says value, so you're gonna give some value. It's simple English, right? So yeah, let me choose now input column. So what I'm trying to do, so null to value, right? On which column I'm doing to null to value? It's on commission percent. So I'm gonna choose commission percent, and it's showing me value, so I'm gonna specify value. And remember this commission percent, if you see here, this commission percent, it's decimal, and the length is 2 and scale is 2. Okay, so based on this data type only we should give the value here. Okay, so length is 2 and scale is 2, right? So let me give minus 0.85, the same value which we gave in modify stage. Okay, once it's done, see the color change, because this means that it's right now. Okay, and that's one thing. And now let's come to manager id. I'm sure there is null values in manager id too. So function null handling. And now I wanna let's say I don't want to give a value to null, but I wanna make it like if there is any null, I just wanna make it as 0. Okay, so set null to 0. So if it is null to 0, right? So now we did not specify any value, because we are just converting nulls to 0. That's it. Okay, so choose your own input column now. That's it. What's our input column? Manager id, right? So just choose manager id. Okay, and that's it. Now department id, what we gonna do on department id? Let me see what else we got in null handling things. Functions and null handling. So what else we got? We are done with. Okay, let me do null to empty. Okay, so we are on commission percent we changed null to value. On manager id we changed null to 0, and now it's null to empty. Empty is also a character. It does not Empty does not or never mean that it's null value. It's a character. Okay, as null is a character, empty is also a character. Okay, character in the sense it's a type of what do I say? It's a type of thing. Okay, it's a type of value, I say. Okay, so it's not that it's empty. Okay, empty is not same as null. That's a pretty simplest thing I can say. Okay, so input column, right? So what's your input column? Why did I choose this function? Okay, input column. Input column is, what's that input column? Department id. Okay, so department id. And what else we how many got? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we have 2 more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have those things okay, you know what, those things we can't have, because we don't have enough columns here. I can't really do it now, like is not null and is null. We don't have enough things to do. So what I'm gonna do is okay, let me just delete it. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this job with this just 4 null handling functions, and after that, once we see how these functions work in the output data, then I'm gonna come to that and show is null and is not null functions. Okay, how we gonna operate that is null and is not null functions. Okay, so yep, that's pretty much it about this. And sorry, just give the file path for the output data, doesn't matter unless it's a data set. Okay, now just compile and run and see if we do have any errors, I mean any compilation errors or runtime errors and all that things. So it's compiled successfully, so not a problem. Now let's run the job. So the job is also run successfully. Now let's view the data. Okay, so yep, here's our data. So what did we do? We then we on the phone number column, what's the derivation we wrote? We have written set null, right? So see, all the columns or all the values in this column are set to null. That's it. We are just making it nullable, just making all the values in that column to null. Set null, right? So we are setting the column to null. Okay, and that's the only thing we have done, and we didn't do anything. And this on this we have done the commission percent. See, we what did we do on commission percent column? We said null to value, right? And what value did we give? We gave minus 0.85, right? So see, it whenever you see minus 0.85, it means that these are all the null values actually. Okay, and when you see this normal values, it means that those values are already there. Okay, so that's null to value is also done. And now coming to manager id, what did we say to manager id? We said null value to null to 0, right? So whenever we are asking DataStage that whenever you encounter a null value in manager id, just make that null value to 0. So see, here we do have a null value, so it's made to 0. Okay, and department id, what did we say on department id? Null value to empty, right? But I don't see any I don't see any nulls in department. Probably there are no nulls, I guess. So yeah, I mean it's just that null values, all the null values if we have in department id, they're gonna be converted to empty. That's it. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about this 4 null handling functions. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you is null and is not null functions. Okay, so let me just delete all these things first. I'm gonna only pull out some columns so it would be less confusing for us. Okay, so I pull the commission percent and manager id because we have seen commission percent has a lot of null values, and manager id there is like one null value, right? So that's good for us. So now what we're gonna do is just clear this derivation and go to function. Sorry, it's not function, but what happens with this is null and is not null functions is basically it should be used with if then else statement, right? Because it is null and is not null, it's like evaluate it evaluates the column. Okay, if it want to evaluate it, it should have something like if you see this if you see this, do this, otherwise do that, right? So it should have if this if not else something, right? So that's the reason we need to choose is not null and is null with the if statement. So and then click on if you need not change anything, the cursor just stays there after if. That means that you need to choose some function. Okay, so choose function now and null handling, and what we are trying to do, we are trying to see is null, right? So it says value, that means the argument is asking for the input column. What we are trying to it's value. Whenever it says value, we try to enter value, but for this is null and is not null, when it says value, it means that we need to give some input column, right? Because we are trying to have is null evaluation on this value means input column, right? So the argument here should be the input column. Okay, so what input column do we need to choose? Commission percent, because that's what we are trying to do, right? We are trying to see if the commission, okay, let me just have, okay, commission percent, then let's say minus 0.95. Remember here, based upon your this thing and the below metadata, based upon your data type and length and scale, you need to choose this. Okay, otherwise you need to handle the type conversion to data type conversion to. Okay, okay. So it means that so I'm basically asking DataStage, if you see this if you see any value in this column, like the commission percent, if you see the commission percent any value as null, then please do this. Else if you don't see that, just pass. I just want to pass the original values. So how do I get original values? Original values, if I choose this commission percent, so I'm asking that if you see any null values, please pass this 0 minus 0.95. Okay, else if you don't see null values, and if there are like really values other than null values, please pass them as such. I don't want to change anything, please pass them as such. Okay, so that's what I'm trying. If you just try to understand one function, the other one is just the other way around. Okay, other way around, it's not a big deal. So okay, so what we're trying to do on this is we're trying to evaluate which are nulls. Okay, right, we are trying to see which are nulls, and in is not we are trying to see if which are not nulls. So we're gonna have like if then same if then else statement, but it's other way. Okay, so if then choose the function. What function is that? Is not null. Okay, now it's again asking for value, and remember its value means argument. You need to give your column name as the argument. Okay, choose input column, and what's that column? I remember it's manager id. Okay, yeah, manager id. So what I'm trying to do now is, if you see if please evaluate this manager id column for not null values. Okay, so not null, right? So if you don't so I'm trying to evaluate a not null, so please evaluate this manager id column for not null. Then if you see or if you see all the not null columns, then just pass them as such. I don't want to change them. Okay, but if you don't see not if you don't see values, or if you don't see not nulls, or if you actually see nulls, so please pass something like, so what's a manager data type? Integer, right? So let me make just like 5000. Okay, so it should be in this thing. Okay, it doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's integer, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, so what I'm trying to do now is it's other way it's the other way around for this is null thing. On is null, what we try to do is, okay, let me just okay. On is null, what we try to do is we evaluated based on null things. We tried, please check for the null values for commission percent, and if you see any nulls, pass this minus 0.95. Okay, if you don't see any null values, then see just have the original values. And on manager id is not null, we are trying see for the not null things, and if you see not nulls or actually values, then pass my original column. If you don't if you see anything other than the original values, like null or empty or anything, any character other than the values, please pass this. Okay, so that's what yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Okay, not empty character because it's not null, right? So if you choose any null, if you see any null values, please pass this 5000. Okay, so it's pretty much like, if you know one, you need not worry about the other because it's the other way around. It's pretty much same. You might be wondering, we can do it with null to value too. Yeah, we can do it with null to value too. So yeah, we do have many number of things for just one simple function. So yeah, you can choose your own depending on your thing. That's it. Okay, so the job is run successfully. So now let me just view the data. So see here, so what did we say? If you see is null, right? So we said if the commission, if you see any null values on commission person, please change them to minus 0.95, right? So these are all the minus 0.95 means that these are all the null values. So it evaluated that these values are null, so it made to minus 0.95. Okay, this is null, right? So it evaluated null and changed this. What about this? We evaluated not null, right? So it checked for the first record, it's not null, so just pass the same thing, because we choose else the same I mean, if is not null, then choose the column same value, else do something like 5000, right? So whatever you see this original records, it means that it's passing the same, because it means that there is no null value in that. But you see this, it means that there is some null value, so that's it didn't find any value on that record. This it was null, so because it was null, it changed it to 5000. It executed the otherwise condition, else condition, right? So yeah, that's pretty much about this is null and is not null. Okay, and that's the only one null value, I guess. Yep, that's the only null value in the manager id. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much about the null handling functions. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's pretty simple null handling functions, right? We can have like any number of functions. You can choose null to value, or you can write if conditions on is null or is not null. Yeah, you can choose anything. Okay, so yeah, that's all, guys. That's pretty much about the null handling functions. And in my next video tutorial, I probably gonna have on let me date and time. Okay, I'd make it date and time first. Let me complete the date and time, and then mathematical or something, and then come to type conversion. Okay, so yeah, in my next tutorial I'm gonna focus on date and time. This is also a little important. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this off. It's pretty simple, so I'm gonna just finish this off in one video, and then move to the type conversions. Okay, type conversions, it's pretty important, so yeah, make sure you don't miss this type conversion video. Okay, thank you guys, thank you so much for watching.